the stress and the anxiety, I've had to confront that head on, like the hardest year of my life having to confront that head on. But I think because I chose to replace everything in my life with good rather than with bad, a vape, a fucking cigarette, whatever, that could have taken away the stress and the anxiety. I chose to replace it with the good, which is the exercise and the whole foods and the watching my kids play sober and, you know, like being a part of their life. And they were a huge part of why I chose to be sober.
Welcome to another episode of Planting Seeds with Soul. Raw conversations on transformation, truth, and finding light in the darkest places. You may not hear what you want, but you will definitely hear what you need. Alrighty guys, welcome back again to another episode of Planting Seeds with Soul. Today we have Hannah Beasley on. How you going, Hannah?
Good.
Did I say your last name right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
How's the irony of this?
I know. I know. When you said, Han, we're going to do it in my dad's bar, I said, fuck yeah.
I didn't think about it, honestly, because we had it set up here because of that weather event, Cyclone Alfred. We had no power at home, so we've set it up here, did the podcast with Dad, and then I only got here this morning and I'm like, oh, fuck. I hope this is actually okay, like not a trigger. I knew it would be okay.
When you asked me, you're like, is this okay, Han? I'm like, yeah, this is fine.
No.
And I think that's the thing with sobriety is that, and it is lovely that people, they come from a place of compassion in checking that, hey, are you okay with this? I even went to a friend's birthday party and it was for a 7-year-old and she was serving alcohol. And she come up to me before I even got a chance to actually, you know, get into the party. And she goes, Han, just so you know, we're serving alcohol. Are you okay? And I'm like, yes, of course I'm okay. And I think with sobriety, to be in sobriety and fully in sobriety, you have to be okay with this. I think if you're like, I can't be around it, I can't go to these events. And sure, there's been occasions where I'm like, oh, you know, I can't. It's the social aspect more than actually being around the alcohol. But I think if you're truly in sobriety, this doesn't bother you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You got to be okay with it, eh?
Yeah.
And I think it makes you a stronger person anyway.
100%. It's part of life. You know, I don't expect my friends around me to be sober. So I've chosen sobriety based off my experiences with alcohol. We're Aussies, you know, it is ingrained in our culture in so many instances, be it a good or a bad thing. But yeah, I feel like I'm not here to change everybody's outlook on drinking alcohol. I'm just here to, for me, figure out what it looks like in my life. And for me, it was, I can't take part in it.
Absolutely. And it's releasing gifts, not just, you know, for yourself first, but then to, you know, I guess anyone else that's
100%.
Potentially looking at getting rid of it. You know, if it's something that's they're abusing too much and it's, you know, bringing a lot of pain and suffering to their life. You know, as soon as something does bring pain and suffering, I think you do need to let go of it. It is the only way.
I 100% agree with you. And that's what it was for me. You know, people ask me, why did you give up alcohol? And as I was saying to your parents, there was no catalyst for me at the time that I was ready to give up alcohol. There should have been. You know, there was times where I missed an entire Adele concert because I was blackout drunk in the back of an ambulance being taken to a hospital. Or I woke up the next day after a hen's party with a black eye and didn't know how I got it. Or I'd overdosed on drugs and my mum and dad had to come and pick me up from a New Year's Eve party at the age of 19. There were so many occasions where I should have checked myself and I didn't. And I'm actually grateful that the time I have checked myself, nothing happened. Because I have kids now, you know, and God forbid that my drinking, the catalyst for my sobriety was because I was drunk in my car with my children or something like that. So there was no, you know, big event that happened that led me to be sober. It was more that it was causing pain and suffering in my life. It was that I was reliant on it. Yeah, and that my stress and anxiety and all of the things that come with having children and businesses and whatever, I could no longer cope with them without alcohol.
Yep.
Yeah.
I completely understand where you're coming from. I come from that world too.
Yeah.
You know, with the Coke and stuff, that was probably my jam, Coke. But obviously, guys, we're going to be talking with Hannah. That was the start.
Here's the intro.
Welcome to the start. And that was actually unreal. But obviously, there's no accident that we've got Hannah here beside me right now. We've planned this on this day. Hannah, we were trying to do it next week actually to link it up with a special 1-year anniversary for Hannah.
Thank you.
Congratulations, by the way.
It's nice to have people acknowledge it because I feel like I've acknowledged it, but people don't count your sobriety for you, you know, so it's really lovely to have you, acknowledge that, that sobriety and that first 12 months is really difficult.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I remember trying to spend 1 day away from coke and it was brutal torture. There is 365 days in a year, isn't there?
And sometimes you count the hours of those 3. Cyclone Alfred for me was a massive test. It was like, 7 days with no power, 2 children, juggling a business, a local business here in Palm Beach that could have also been affected by the cyclone as well, and the staff that come with that business. And so there was actually so many times where I said to my husband, I'm so close to that 12 months. And that 12 months isn't the end of my sobriety, but I think being so close to that 12 months, Cyclone Alfred was difficult, but also I was like, there was like this, you're so close, like alcohol is nothing to you right now. It really isn't. And stress and anxiety from Cyclone Alfred, sure, it's hard to manage, but you're so close to a 12-month, milestone. Like, how cool is that? Yeah, so there was definitely times during those 7 days of no power and Cyclone Alfred's chaos that I was like, fuck, I would just love a tequila.
I bet. I get it. It's a really good, easy way to soothe, I guess, yourself from yourself at the end of the day, because it is against you.
You could not have said it better. That's exactly what it is. Soothe yourself from yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely understand it. I still do it today, you know what I mean? But I guess previously before, and it's not bad. It's a couple of beers with lunch here and there. Yeah. But it is, back in the day, I guess the coke and the drink was to soothe me, the regret and shame that I was, my actions.
Yeah.
So I was dragging the past into the present. That hurt. So I would drink and snort coke and soothe myself from my past. But these days, I'm happy. I'm living in the moment, and I guess just some moments I like to soothe it with a beer after work and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So, and mine's exercise. And I think that was the thing for me, was finding another coping mechanism for my stress and anxiety and the soothing yourself from yourself part. I have ADHD, so my brain is 1,000 miles an hour, and my diagnosis came with my sobriety, and it was a really beautiful. For some people, they look at ADHD or the diagnosis of ADHD and go, whatever, they have their opinions. But for me, it was really beautiful to get that diagnosis and better understand my addiction, because as an ADHD person, we seek dopamine. We don't have it naturally, so we're constantly chasing it. We seek it through, porn, some people, gambling, sex, drinking, drugs, all of it. Those dopamine hits that naturally our brains don't produce like a neurotypical person. And so for me, I knew that because of my brain, if I gave up alcohol, I would have to find something in place of that. And not to say that I'm replacing an addiction with addiction. It was just like, I know how my brain works. And in order for me to stay clean and not touch alcohol and drugs, I need to replace what it was giving me with something else. And that is exercise.
Well, I think you do. You need to, once you let go of one thing, like you've got all this room opened up, don't you?
Yeah.
You can either choose to replace it with something good
or
bad.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think we choose, when we choose to make a difference in our life, we've chosen already to make a good difference in our life. So I think when you choose to stay away from alcohol and drugs like yourself, you've already chosen the good between the yin and the yang. You've already chosen the good rather than the bad. And I think it's so much easier when you're on that trajectory to continue to choose the good. It's kind of just that, like, it's a really beautiful thing to watch.
Like a snowball effect?
A snowball effect, it is, isn't it? I think as soon as you give away that thing in your life that's causing that pain and suffering, you've already chosen to be good. You've chosen the good out of the good and the bad. And I think, as you say, it's just that snowball of like, okay, I've chosen to give away the alcohol. What can I replace this with? What's good that I can replace this with? Because so many times I was like, right, I've given away the alcohol. Maybe I'll just take up vaping because that'll knock off the stress and the anxiety with the nicotine.
And I'm not fucking up as much on the vape.
And I'm not fucking up as much on the vape, you know. So I feel like there is definitely a crossroads there for people that do decide that they want to get sober in choosing how they manage those still pain and suffering emotions and the stress and the anxiety, because that doesn't go away. And if anything, I've noticed since giving up the alcohol, it's amplified.
Yep.
You know, that not so much the pain and the suffering, but the stress and the anxiety. I've had to confront that head on, like the hardest year of my life having to confront that head on. But I think because I chose to replace everything in my life with good rather than with bad, a vape, a fucking cigarette, whatever, that could have taken away the stress and the anxiety. I chose to replace it with the good, which is the exercise and the whole foods and the watching my kids play sober and, you know, like being a part of their life. And they were a huge part of why I chose to be sober. My mum and dad, my dad comes from a long line of alcoholics. And he himself drinks quite a lot. And
still to this day.
Still to this day. Yeah, they both do, still to this day. And they're obviously going to listen to this.
Hey, Mum and Dad.
Hey, Mum and Dad. It's been a big thing for them as well, and without getting emotional, because I know I will, you know, having a daughter that's decided, because my younger brother drinks just as much as what I used to, and he's got children and whatever. My older brother, who is a black sheep of the family, has chosen a completely different life for himself, which is so beautiful to see. I think for us growing up, and I'm not speaking for my younger brother, but for us growing up, it was very much a case of, well, our family are alcoholics. You know, this is just ingrained in our blood. We're predisposed to alcoholism. You know, I can drink any man under the table. It was kind of just that's what Hannah does sort of thing. That's what Hannah's family does. You know, we had the parties at our house and it was a wonderful upbringing, and I'm not saying that it wasn't, but it did expose me, I think, to the way of life of, like, you know, well, we drink, that's what we do. We just drink to have fun and, you know, and drugs and things like that. And because we had an open relationship with our family and our mum and dad, we got to speak to them about it. You know, I went to this party and I took all these drugs and blah, 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 blah. And mum and dad never condoned it. They weren't like, oh, how good is that? But they most certainly were like, well, I'm glad you've spoken to us about it. And if ever there was an issue, my friends would call my parents and say, look, Han's blackout drunk. She can't see, she's wet herself. Can you come and pick her up? So there was always that aspect of, like, I knew that I could go to my parents because they also understood the alcoholism part of it. But I think, growing up, there was always this, like, you know, component in our lives of, like, are we enabling ourselves because we have this long line of alcoholism in our family, and we're predisposed to it. And I think I only think like that now that I'm sober, because I reflect back and I think the conversations I would have with myself were very much like, I'd wake up the next day and be like, oh, well, that's just what we do. We just drink till we're blackout drunk.
What Aussies do.
That's what Aussies do, you know, and my family's the last man standing all the time. We're the hoo-ha's at the party, whatever. Like, we just, you know, and then we get on with it and keep drinking.
Yeah. The kick-ons.
The kick-ons, exactly. Always the last man standing. And I loved that. That was so much a part of myself that I loved. But, as I've now gotten sober, it's been a really big thing for my mum and dad. They haven't spoken much to me about my sobriety, and I think that's because, one, maybe they don't understand it, but also, two, they're still very much, they drink, you know, they're still very much drinkers. So, it's been a big thing for them. I don't know if they understand how important this is in my life. And I try my hardest to show them in a compassionate way without being like, hey, I was an alcoholic because your family was alcoholics. Like, I'm not doing that, but in a way I'm kind of like, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's solid, Han, like, to when you're growing up, obviously we create these, like, I guess, loops and patterns, these neural pathways in our brain.
Yep.
And they take such deep root when we're consistently thinking about it and then acting on it, you know, walking that path back and forth. And then when you get to a point like yourself a year ago where you've made a decision, like you've just made a choice, you've acted on an invisible force of a thought, and you've started to create this new pathway, a pathway that you probably haven't walked before.
Never.
Which is
since I was 14.
Yep.
Yeah, since I started drinking.
So you have stepped out of this groove, which you're very familiar with, and you find comfort in that familiar, and then you're just in a world of darkness and uncertainty and that fear. Unknown and fear.
Yeah, and so, facing fear is the only way to get through it.
That is.
But it's fucking scary.
And how do you do that?
Exactly. How do you do that without liquid courage? Yeah. Like I said, it would be nice to have a little bit of something in this coffee.
Honestly, I'm asking how do you face fear? We were just talking about it before, I think.
Yeah. How do I face fear? And I know that you've had this conversation in different arenas, like with Kels, you've had this conversation about how did you do this TV segment? Like how did you just I think for me, my facing fear of my sobriety and what that looks like in my life, given that I had no one around me that is sober. I'm 35 years old. You know, there's not many people at 35 that are sober and have chosen that for their life, especially in my friends group, my family. Do you know what? The fear is an everyday thing and I still live with it. I'm stubborn as fuck. And I'm almost a bit like, there was a part of me that was kind of like I want to prove people wrong. I think because when you say at 35 years old and having been the party girl, I'm going sober, you know that people around you are saying, oh, this won't last. You know, oh, she's going to, when, you know, like she'll be drinking again by whatever. So there's part of me that's like, I'm facing the fear, but it's also like I'm fucking stubborn and I'm going to do this.
It's like fuel for you.
It's fuel. Yes.
I love that.
Inside, I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I've got this, you watch.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think now that I'm a year on, people are like, oh, bitch meant it.
And that's good. And they'd see the difference.
Yeah.
With a lot of things. And like that leading by example is so important. Like, it's not just helping yourself.
For my children especially.
Yeah.
How do you teach responsible drinking when you can't even responsibly drink alcohol yourself? Like, how could I have taught my boys how to responsibly drink alcohol if I don't know how to responsibly drink alcohol? I couldn't. So lead by example. So for me, removing it from my life showed my boys that, hey, you don't need this to have fun, to laugh, to put on music and dance around your bedroom. Like, you don't need this to live a full life. And I think leading by example for me was the easiest way, hardest for me, but the easiest way to show my boys. Like that, hey, this doesn't have to be a part of your life, or it can be, but it doesn't have to be everything. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. It's the only way. Like, you can talk as much talk as you want, but if you're not walking your talk, it means fuck all.
It does.
It means fuck all.
Words mean nothing, you know, and it's so, people say it in such a throwaway line. Oh, words mean nothing, you know, actions speak louder than words, all of those kind of things. When you're older in life and you're going through struggles, relationship woes, whatever it is, it's so, for me, it's so paramount that my actions speak louder than my words. And I think that's where I've faced my fear, is that, okay, I can't say I'm going to be sober because it means nothing to anyone, but being sober, my actions of being sober, changing my life for the better, have spoken way louder than, hey, I'm sober. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can say, I am sober. That's I am the most powerful 2 words. I don't know. You can't call that a word, can you?
No.
Just a letter.
Am sober, yeah.
But it is. It's like, you know, you can say, I am going to be sober, but that doesn't mean anything. That means you're not sober until you actually.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. And it was the same as like, you know, oh, I'm going to give it a go, or like those words have never come out of my mouth. It was never, I'm going to give it a go. It was never, I'll see how long I last. It is, I am sober. I'm sober. Like there was a line in the sand for me because I had to tell my brain that as well. The stubbornness inside of me had to know that I really meant this, and I'm going to face this fear because I'm fucking stubborn and I'm doing this. Like, so the fear, I think, became a bit of a backseat in so many instances because I am still so set on this
Love that.
That the fear kind of like every time I face something, you know, sober, that's daunting, that's scary, that's whatever, the stubbornness in me takes over and goes, actually, fuck you, Cyclone Alfred. I'm stubborn and I'm actually going to get through this sober because I'm stubborn. Like scary as fuck, shit time, whatever. But yeah, the stubbornness in me is 100% my driving force.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unreal. I love that.
Yeah.
The darkness doesn't like a stubborn one either.
No, it does not.
No. What you were saying about the line in the sand.
Yeah.
For myself personally, and I've said this before to people, you know, there's going to be a moment in your life where things change dramatically. It's like they call it a metamorphosis. It's like a metamorphosis, but it's within. So a metamorphosis is like when the caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, but no, I don't know what the caterpillar thinks, but I don't think the caterpillar would know that it's going to transform into something like that. There's just a moment, boom, caterpillar cocoon, and then transformed into this beautiful thing that can fucking fly. Like it blows my mind that. And I think that happens with us. You know, we have a moment, but there's also other moments that sort of push to that main moment. And I guess where I'm going with this is, was there a major moment where you were just like, fuck this can't continue?
Hiding my drinking. Yeah. That everyone knew that I would drink. I would drink when I was at work. You know, it would be my time without my children, and that would be my excuse. It's that misplaced self-care. You know, like I've had a stressful day at work. I'm here without my children at work. This is a nice opportunity for me to have a champagne, you know. I think it was when I started to drink on my own, and a lot on my own. At home, I'd put my 2-year-old down for his day nap at 12 o'clock, and I would tell myself every single day, you're not having a drink today. And every single day I'd pour myself a tequila with my lunch. And I wouldn't tell anyone until I was sober. I wouldn't tell my husband, but it didn't stop there. I would start that tequila at midday, and then I would continue to drink until I went to sleep at night about 8 o'clock. So I'd go through half a bottle to a bottle of tequila a day and hide it.
That's a fair bit, eh? How many standard drinks are in a bottle of tequila?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Well, it started as like a tequila, soda and lime, and then it was tequila, soda and lime.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like the soda was my chaser on my tequila. But as far as my husband knew, he'd get home from school pickup at 3 o'clock, and that was my first drink that I would have poured myself. And I'd do the big song and dance, and I'd be like, oh, I've had the most stressful day. Buddy, my youngest, has been crazy, and the salon's been a nightmare, and the girls have rung me 500 times. I just got to have a drink to take the edge off. Yeah. Little did he know, I'd already had 4 drinks before he was even at home. So I think that was for me the moment when I was like, and it was very much like you say, there was moments leading up to it. It was the slippery slope into, holy shit, I'm drinking every day, and I'm drinking every day and not telling anybody, and I'm hiding it, and this is going real bad real fast. Yeah. And then it was, you know, like I'd go out with my girlfriends, and everyone, you know, knows what it gets like, but you go out with your girlfriends, and it'd be as many drinks as I could drink when I was out with my girlfriends, and then I'd catch an Uber home, and I'd get the Uber to call into the bottle on the way home, and I'd make sure that I had alcohol at home or even in wherever I was. You know, I'd always have a roadie, or I'd always have there were so many moments in the lead up to the line in the sand that were that, wow, this is going bad real fast. And I couldn't stop.
Were you having real neurotic thoughts, like the next day, sort of like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
no. And I think that's the worst part, is that I didn't, until I stopped and realised how bad it had gotten, I was functioning. I was still going to the gym the next day. I was still, you know, I was driving cars. I never got a hangover. I didn't. And I think that's that alcoholism, that alcoholic part, that functioning alcoholic part, is that you don't get those hangovers, or, you know, like I could have driven a car blind and I would have been fine because I wasn't getting drunk. I wasn't wasn't getting that leglessy feeling of anything. So no, I wasn't getting those thoughts the next day until I got sober and then said, look, hey, I'm not drinking alcohol anymore. And people were like, oh, I didn't realize it had gotten that bad. And then I was like, well, I was drinking on my own. You know, I kind of was starting to speak about it. And I was like, fuck, like, oh my God, how silly, like how irresponsible, like, can't believe you would do that with your 2-year-old around, or like, you know, it was the shame, I think, after, but not while, which was even worse. That I wasn't shameful when I was drinking. It was shameful when I got sober.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they say first, this is, the quote says man, but I'm going to use woman here. First,
Thanks.
the woman has the drink.
Yep.
And then the drink has the woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That resonates so much with me, because that's what it was. It was, I had control to an extent. Was always a big drinker, always binge drank, always, you know, would vomit on myself or wee on myself, whatever. But I wouldn't get up and do it the next day. I was fine. The next day I'd wake up and deal with the mess of the night before, and then I'd move on and I'd wait till the weekend and I'd drink again. And then the drink got a hold of me.
Yeah.
And then it was every day I'd wake up and say, I'm not drinking today, and I couldn't not drink. It was every day I would drink. And even my parents were like, I didn't realise it had gotten that bad. And I'm like, that's when it's bad, because when people around you don't realise how bad it has gotten, you're hiding it. You know, you're doing it behind closed doors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's called spirits for a reason, eh?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Like everything, I think, you know, from the research that I've done, everything that we consume, you know, alcohol, drugs, food,
Yeah.
even things we hear and see, everything has a spirit.
Yeah.
When you consume the spirit of alcohol, it literally possesses you.
Yeah.
And I know I can talk about that from experience. Like I've spent, you know, the spirit of Coke and heaps of other things, you know, a lot of time in lockup. Like that's not the person I am.
Yeah.
You know, the person that was going around back in the day acting the way that he was acting, like that's not me. Obviously, the substances had a lot to do with that. But at the end of the day, I chose
Yeah.
to consume those things too. So
How did you know that you'd had enough? How did you know when you were ready to choose the good?
probably I wouldn't like anyone to get to this point ever, but it was trying to kill myself.
Okay.
Or killing myself. You
Yeah.
know, I tried a couple of times. And, you know, obviously I was sick of it. I was sick of my thoughts. I didn't understand what I understand now in terms of, you know, thought creation and,
Yeah.
you know, the stories we pick up on the way and, you know, how things are actually out of our control. I wanted things to be in control so much, but there was just so much that was out of control. I was just sort of like, I was so lost.
Yeah.
But the last time I tried to kill myself, it was in this house here actually. It was just around the corner there. I had a heap of Xanax and Valium.
And you knew that that's what you were doing?
This one was proper intentional, yeah. The other times it'd sort of be like after a 3-day bender, and this one was too, but I just sort of planned it at the start, this one. The other ones sort of just would be that last day and I'd be hating myself and back into the same position that I've been in every weekend for the last 10 years sort of thing. Yeah, just got over it. But the last time here was, it was definitely intentional.
Yeah.
I just downed all the drugs that I had. You know, I had an ounce of Coke and a drink, like a full bottle of Bundy rum straight.
Jesus, yeah.
I was scared to die, but I was sick of being here.
Yeah.
So I thought, what's the easiest way, you know, to sort of kill myself and just sort of like lapse and doze off into a sleep where I'm just not going to wake up. Like I didn't want to hurt.
Yeah.
And I did that, and just lucky that my cousin rocked up here. I can't even remember texting her or calling. Obviously, I didn't want to die. Like I wanted just someone to come save me. But at the end of the day, you know, that was me that could only do that. But that point there was definitely, I had an experience when I died, which I remember when I woke up on life support.
Yeah. And
that experience, it gave me an understanding, even though I didn't understand it completely.
At the time,
yeah. And still now, like it's a mystery life.
Yeah.
But it made me realise that death isn't the end.
Yeah.
Going through that experience, like I was still experiencing when I was supposed to not be experiencing. You know what I mean? It was just my consciousness.
You were just like,
yeah, but
there's
like
so much more here for me.
So much more here. You know, like I think I was looking at things at such an individual level last time. Like I just knew about my own pain.
Yeah.
But from being in that pain and moving through it and working through it and coming out that other side, I can see how much pain other people are in, you know, now. Like literally every person, I do a lot of people observing.
Yeah.
And every time I'm people observing, I'm just like, I wonder what struggles that person's going through.
Yeah.
You know, the good and the bad, but...
Which is such a beautiful attribute to have, you know, because there's that common saying of like, you never know what someone's going through. And to have that live inside of you and to be curious about that within other people, you know, because that's just a saying for so many people. But for you, you live with that, you know, and you look at people in that light of like, I wonder what they're going through.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's a reason why why I've, you know, got this podcast set up. It's about, you know, exploring your world within and, you know, you're sharing that with myself and then whoever's going to be watching this as well. You know, everyone's got a different world within. Everyone's been brought up differently, picked up different stories, had different experiences. And I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And sharing it, you know, transforming darkness into light and light into darkness, because I understand and realise that we need the darkness.
You need both to
for
exist.
transformation,
Yeah, 100%. And I think that is that, you know, when you talk about the fear is the darkness in so many instances. I feel like fear is a positive thing. Fear has created stubbornness inside of me. You know, like I feel like fear can be really, it's kind of that loop, isn't it?
It is. I think once you see what fear does, and it is the blocker.
Yeah.
And when you really realise that and you want to get past that, then you just got to step the fuck into it.
Yeah, and then it becomes the circle for you.
Yeah.
It's still there. You still exist within it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a blocker. You know, you can use the fear in so many instances for a good purpose.
Absolutely. And there's always going to be a new level of fear. You know how they say new level, new devil?
Yeah.
It doesn't
Haven't
stop.
heard that one, but I love it.
Yeah. It doesn't stop it. You know, just knocking the piss on the head. Like, sobriety doesn't just mean, you know, knocking substances. It's knocking those, you know, neurotic thoughts.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what this last year for me has been. You know, when I say it's the hardest year of my life, it's not the sobriety. It's not picking up a drink from your dad's bar. That's not the hard part for me. The hard part has been confronting what I used to pick up a drink for head on without alcohol. It's confronting the stress.
Yeah.
It's confronting the anxiety. It's confronting the ADHD. It's living with all of these things every day, because you do. Everyone has stress and anxiety and whatever else every day. It's that part that's been really difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine. It is, because it's like we were saying before, you're faced with yourself directly. And I noticed that with Cyclone Alfred, actually. Like, we lost power, you lost power. A lot of people fucking lost power. But I'd realised I'd done that observing again and seen how many people were complaining about it. And I get it. It's hard, especially with kids. They were the cyclone.
Weren't they?
Cyclone Alfred had fuck all on the kids.
Had fuck all on my kids.
You know?
Oh, God, yeah. And there was that joke in so many households. The cyclones inside a house,
But I noticed that so many people were faced with themselves.
Yeah.
They didn't have the TV to soothe. They didn't have the bars open to soothe. You know, some were open, but there wasn't much availability. A lot of things were taken away for a few days, and people were like, fuck, I've got to face the music. But that's what people must know. That's what they are running from.
Yeah, that's it.
They need to know that they should face it.
Yeah. And isn't it beautiful? As hard as this journey has been, oh my God, I've loved every minute of it. I really and truly have. Like, and people around me, you know, my family don't talk about my sobriety, which is a whole nother kettle of fish. But, you know, my sobriety isn't me. It's not, you know, people don't really even know that I'm sober. But for me, it's everything in my world, because not the not drinking part, but it's everything in my world, because every single day I'm going through this journey of sobriety, facing fear, facing anxiety, facing stress, facing everything, and I'm actually loving it.
You're killing it.
Yeah, it's the strangest thing because these are all very hard things to confront.
They're foreign.
They're foreign. They're 100% they're foreign. And I think, it would be, like I'm loving the journey of it. I really am. And sure, I'm only a year into it, which is huge. But, for people that have been sober for decades, I'm the baby of the clan. But I'm loving it. And I'm actually addicted to the journey of sobriety. Being ADHD, chasing that dopamine constantly. The dopamine for me is sobriety, is facing every day with its challenges and whatever, and the feelings and the emotions that arise and feeling them, actually feeling them.
I know what you're talking about. That's one of my driving forces is, like I do a lot of exercise and that as well, which has been like, I'm always going to chase chemicals. Yeah. I'm a fucking junkie.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
But running, that's a good replacement, and, the breath work and all that sort of stuff. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's nice waking up every day getting excited about something like that. Getting excited about, okay, today I'm going to release this feeling inside of my body, the energy, the stress, whatever it is, through movement. I get excited because I'm like, yes, I get to train today. I've been feeling pent up. I've been feeling anxious. I've been whatever. And I get to actually get in a gym and train. And it's an addiction.
How's Ryan the husband? I don't think we've done any talking about
beautiful
Ryan.
Husband. Yes.
Beautiful husband. He's a good man.
Oh, he's such a good man.
I haven't had a chance to have a real good chat with him.
Yep.
But
he's a hard soul. He's ex-army.
Yep.
And he's also very similar. He doesn't really I think because we've been together for so long, and I'm a wildling, so I have all of these grand ideas and all these things that I do, and I just do them, that he's so proud of me. Don't get me wrong, he's so proud of me. But, he does, nothing's profound to Ryan. Nothing's like, oh my God, that is so amazing. Like, nothing's like that to Ryan. He's just like, yeah, fucking sick, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Like, he's just a very, he doesn't drink very much. He has a really good moderation of his alcohol, his control of his alcohol, which may be the army part of him. He tends to, know his limits. But he's phenomenal. He stands beside me and he's forever backing me in his own silence.
Silence is such a good thing to cultivate.
Yeah. He just nods and smiles. And when I get on a bit of a tangent and I start to get pent up about it and talk about it and whatever, he's 100% there for me. And he gets involved and whatever in the conversation. But he's just...
That's yin and yang, you two. I'm just thinking about it now. Like
we are 100% yin and yang, yeah. And I need that in my life as much as he needs me in his.
Both must coexist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I love that. I love that, yin and yang was created for a reason. And I feel like if you can, it's the same with the fear and the darkness and the light, and it's the same with the good and the bad. There is yin and yang in everything.
Yep.
Everything.
Well, we wouldn't know the experience of happiness without unhappiness. It's just that polarity.
Yeah.
I think that's the right word. I hope that's the right word.
Yeah.
Not too good with old labels, but you got to, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the silence without all this noise and chaos and shit in the world, that sort of thing.
And I'm reading this book at the moment, and it's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing book, Mark Manson. And he says in it basically, for you to think that in your life you're never going to have these speed bumps, these hurdles, it's so unrealistic. You have to choose what fuckery you're ready to give a fuck about. Really, that's all it is. You have to choose what darkness you're going to let into your life, because they have to coexist. You can't get the multi-million-dollar house if that's your dream. That's not mine. But if you can't get the multi-million-dollar house without busting your ass and hustling and working those long days and doing all of those things. So if you want it, if that fuckery is your fuckery, you've got it. They have to exist together. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm on the same train as you. It's not something I want. I guess what I want is more time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm chasing. I'm chasing more time, and I'll be straight up with you with, this whole social media thing with the podcast and what I do online. I have noticed that, obviously I'm trying to create more time through this to help more people.
Yeah.
But I am noticing that it it takes away present time from the kids, and I only get to see them, you know, for an hour and a half when I get home from work. I don't get to see them in the morning.
Yeah.
But like I've got to, and I'm deciding this within myself, obviously, and it's really a no-brainer. I just need to suss out the right way to go about it, but I can't keep doing it forever, you know. And
because it's
and
not giving you what you want on the other side.
It's not giving me that time yet.
Yeah.
It's actually taking more time, and I'm like, you know, I don't expect anything at the end of the day, and if something's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. So there is that risk that you can lose all of this time, which is the important stuff. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, fully. But yeah, I've got to make a choice. Yeah, I'm losing all this time, sorry. And yeah, I don't know if it's I actually don't know if it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
That's the unknown.
And that's where that yin and yang is off balance. You know, like there's too much of the black that's not giving you the white. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I am a big I do have trust in the universe that I'm going the right direction. I do have my signs and all that sort of stuff. So I just wish you could have a sign and like an angel come in front of me and be like, wrong fucking path, mate. Turn around.
Do you know what? This is the weirdest thing, but whenever I'm looking for a sign, not looking for a sign, it actually gets put in front of me when I'm not looking most. Mine is yes on a number plate.
Oh, really?
I see them whenever I'm on a path, a journey, or whatever, something different in my life, and I'm not actually looking for a sign, but it would be nice to have one. I always see yes written on a number plate. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we're good. Yeah. But I know it would be, there's no black book that says to you, you're doing this right.
Well, I have synchronicity storms with triple digits on number plates and triple letters.
There you go.
And it's only like, you know, you personally have your own signs. I'm like, okay, I'll try and catch my thought at that time. But when you catch your thought at that time, you've got another question. It's like, is it right or wrong? Come on.
When you need the yes number plate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, it is right.
Yeah. I've been reading this book actually, and I think it helps you out with that decision. I can't remember the name of it, but it's about loving yourself.
Yeah.
And it says, you know, you got to hold this space for yourself before you make a decision and ask yourself, if I truly and deeply love myself, is this the right choice? Like, you know what loving yourself is truly or deeply. It could be like about to spark up a durry or go out and do that thing, and, you know. Yeah. So I'm trying to cultivate that a little bit more, but
and I think that's you know, like I was saying with the misplaced self-care, that for me has been something as well. Like, okay, is this true? You know, I won't drink this alcohol because self-care looks different for me now. You know, I'm going to, instead of sparking up a durry or taking a drink, I'm going to go for a run.
Yes.
Or I'm going to move my body. Yeah.
Definitely. Running, like, what do you find running does for you, like moving the body?
It's the breath for me. Yeah. Because when I get anxious or when I get stressed, you know, that sharp, tense feeling in your chest. Whereas when you're running and when you're exercising, you get that full breath out and that full breath in, and it's a real expanding of the chest for me. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What about, like, in terms of your physical body, when you were you know, consuming a lot of piss?
Yeah.
What was did you notice changes in your physical health, especially once you know, say the last moment you were drinking to this present moment now?
Huge. Like, physically I look different. I've lost a lot of weight. I don't have that puffiness in my face anymore. And I believe that's my cortisol as well. Like, I think when I was drinking, my cortisol levels were through the roof with stress and whatever. But yeah, definitely I've noticed a huge difference in my physical appearance, but also how my body feels. I feel fit. I feel strong. I live inside my body now. Whereas when I was drinking, it was like I was outside my body all the time. I was always 10 steps ahead of myself. I was always, you know, I was almost looking back on myself in so many instances, whereas now I live in my body. I feel my body on a daily basis, move and work. And
I love that.
Yeah, and it's so nice to feel this feeling sober, because I was still exercising when I was drinking, but I never had this feeling of like, I'm doing this for the fitness inside my body, for the way that it feels. I was just exercising.
That's right.
Whereas now I'm like, wow, how profound that feeling is.
It does, hey. Moving building a relationship with your body is the first step to
Yeah.
your life force.
Yeah.
You know, there's only 3 steps to work on your life force: that building a relationship with your body, building a relationship with others, and then the most important level to it is building that relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
You don't love yourself, build a relationship with yourself. You know, you've been doing it for the last year,
Yeah.
and that ripples out to the kids.
Yeah.
To everyone.
Yeah. And as well as myself, that I'm doing this for me, that's the most important thing, that my kids get to see this version of me.
That's right.
Yeah, that's, I think, another reason why I do it. Because I'm like, my boys get to witness and be a part of this journey and this life for myself. And how amazing for them. You know, we talked to my eldest son, he's 7, about my sobriety. And Ryan's right there along for the conversation, and he'll say things like, you know, Mummy doesn't drink alcohol anymore, because he was old enough to understand that I did drink alcohol. Mummy doesn't drink alcohol anymore because she wasn't proud of the way that it made her feel. And he understands that on like a proper intellectual level. You know, and then he says things like, oh, I don't think I'll drink alcohol either. Or maybe if I drink alcohol, I'll just have a little bit, you know. So seeing the effects that it's taken on them as well is really lovely. I think that's been a really beautiful eye-opener too, is that, you know, seeing my eldest boy understand that, you know, that alcoholism is a real thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the information, because like there is so much shit out there, eh?
Yeah.
Like we all have our thing, you
Yeah.
know, whether it's, you know, beer or food, coffee, tea. We're always going to have something.
Yeah.
But
And we should.
We should.
We're human beings.
Yeah.
We're consumers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like obviously sugar's a big one in the world. Like
Yeah.
sugar cane's more addictive than cocaine. Like
Yeah.
everyone's on her.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, even if you try and get away from it, there's, you know, the chances are you're probably getting it into you anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where the fuck I was going with that. I've got a bit of a bloody ADD brain too. I think jump from one thing to the
We
next.
love it.
But the kids,
Yeah.
you know,
The
with
kids,
the
100%.
sugar,
Yeah.
with the sugar and that, like I'm consuming it
Yeah.
as well. Like not much, but
Yeah.
let's talk about beer. I was drinking a beer in front of them,
Yeah.
and I tell them that soft drink's bad, but I'm drinking a beer in front of them and all that sort of stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, look, it's about, I think it's about having one foot in, one foot out. You've got to understand, boys, that this shit is actually no good for you. I'm going to teach them the right information. I'm not going to say that it's okay when it's not.
Yeah.
But
And we're not scaring them away from it. They're going to make their own choices, of course. But yeah, if you can give them that knowledge behind, hey, if you overuse anything, it's going to be bad for you. There's repercussions. If you overeat sugar, if you overdrink caffeine, if you overuse drugs, alcohol, all of it, you know, anything in large quantities consumption can be detriment to your health. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're not going to create time to consume less of that stuff and create time to exercise and move your body, then I guess you better start creating some time for getting pretty fucking crook, because that's where you are going to.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to
Or
head.
kiss away the time that you do have, because unfortunately that's for a lot of people in the world of addiction, junkie, alcoholism, all of those kind of things, that's what they lose.
Time.
They lose time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's so beautiful for you to come out the other side of being that person and realize that that is the most important thing, is the time. Because if you're going to participate in that kind of lifestyle, consuming in large quantities of drugs, alcohol, whatever, you lose time.
Yep.
You do. I remember waking up some days and being like, what the fuck happened yesterday? Don't remember anything. I don't remember putting my boys to sleep. I don't remember from 12 o'clock onwards, where did that even go? 12 p.m.
Yep.
lunchtime onwards. I don't even remember. You know, and for you it was days. Where did those 3 days even go?
Yeah, I've got a shocking memory to this day. It's definitely done some damage.
Yeah.
No doubt. Like I don't really retain much memory at all. Like we're just that's why I don't know if it's from practicing being present, but when you came here I was saying to you, like, I really have no time to think about anything, but I don't really want to be in my head thinking about how things are going to go down, how, you know, what we're going to talk about, like have a plan and a structure. Like I'm grew up on plan and structures, and I'm fucking over it.
Yeah.
So I think that like just doing this, like this is all just whatever.
Fly by the seat of your pants.
Just go with the flow.
Go with the flow. And I think that's been another big thing for me too. It was my nan's favourite saying was go with the flow. And I never could understand it because with an ADHD brain, you're always, you're just constantly on. You're going all the time. And then with alcohol and everything like that, I was never present. I was never going with the flow. It was, the two combined was like a catastrophic disaster. It was like this person that wanted to be like plan everything down to the last minute, and then she was drunk half the time. And for me, getting sober, being able to practice being present and getting back time, the days are so much longer now, and the time with my children is so much more special. And those are things that they're the white of the yin and the yang, that have come from this. The stress, the anxiety and all of that kind of stuff, facing that head on is the black, and the white is the time and the present and being able to actually practice that and doing it, and the gratitude, which I could not do before because I was either too fast paced for my life, and then I would drink, and then I was drunk. So it was kind of like I was either one or the other. Yeah.
Do you meditate?
All the time, every night, relentlessly.
How do you go with that? Has that just kicked off, or was that while you were on the alcohol?
Before even, more so now that I'm sober. Meditation's difficult for me, and I have to give myself grace at least for the first 10 minutes of meditation because my brain does just want to unpack, and I'm allowed to do that. I let myself do that, because when I first was taught or started practicing meditation, it was all about like don't think any thoughts, and that whole misconception about what meditation is. Whereas now I know deeply what meditation is, and I meditate every single night before I sleep for half an hour to an hour, and the first 10 to 20 minutes of that is literally just my brain unpacking the thoughts, and it's so necessary for my brain because without myself allowing myself to unpack that part of my brain, I don't slip into meditation. I'm constantly going stop thinking like whereas now I'm like get it all out, girl, let it all out. And then I just slowly drift into meditation, and I love it.
I love it too. Sometimes I picture me unpacking those things into a sack and then tying it up in a knot.
What a great analogy. Yeah.
And then meditating, like you're going to open that sack back up, but some of the things you can deal with in that meditation. Yeah. Like it's such a beautiful time. Like holding space for yourself is probably the most solid thing you can do.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think holding space for yourself correlates with choosing the good. Always. Yeah. And I think until you get to that point in your life where you're ready to choose the good from the bad, you're not holding space for yourself. You're really not. I think it all goes hand in hand. I think holding space for yourself is when you're ready to actually choose yourself. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you've got to be ready, don't you? Yeah. Definitely have to be ready. Yeah. Because I've met with people before in their sobriety journey, and everyone says, in your sobriety journey, you would know, you relapse, and you do, and you've got to give yourself grace in those moments. I haven't, thankfully. It's the stubbornness inside of me. But I think that they're not fully there yet. And that's exactly what it is. And that's not discrediting their sobriety journey or saying that they're not, strong enough to do sobriety and face sobriety head on and continue with it. But I feel like if they relapse in their sobriety or whatever it is, whatever they're choosing to give away, I feel like they're not fully at that door of good yet. If they, come back from that. Maybe they're there. They're just waiting for someone to open it for them, but they got to realise that they are the door opener. Yeah, it's about you. Then that's exactly what we're saying. It's that self-care that you're willing to give yourself, in order for you to be fully in this, you have to be ready to give that to yourself. Yeah. How are your thoughts now? It's one thing I did want to get here. And I know we've touched a little bit on it now, like with the anxiety and stuff. Yeah. And you've said that exercise is one of the things that helps you deal with that sort of thing. Yeah. Is there anything else that you do use? So the meditation, obviously. Yeah. I have I've been seeing a hypnotherapist. He's phenomenal. And say what you will about hypnotherapy. I'd never dabbled in it before. But to get an ADHD diagnosis, you go to psychologists and all these whack people, and talk therapy is not my thing. I don't want to sit there and talk about bullshit. I don't want you to tell me that it might be my relationship with my husband, or it might be... No, I don't need to talk about that crap. So for me, hypnotherapy has been massive. This guy that I see in Helensvale, he's phenomenal. The subconscious mind, because my conscious mind has these conversations with myself of stress and anxiety and all of those kind of things. So the talk in my brain is a lot of chatter, and it's a lot of imposter syndrome in my businesses, and it's a lot of, not self-doubt, because I don't doubt myself, especially my sobriety.
That's good.
Yeah, but there is conversations on days where I'm like, oh, you shouldn't feel this stress, or you shouldn't feel this anxious, or you shouldn't feel, I can be really hard on myself. So to work with a hypnotherapist that has access to your subconscious has been eye-opening, so eye-opening, because the thing I love most about it is that the calm, the gentle, the soft Hannah lives inside of me. It's in there. It's just in back here, it's this part of my brain is the part that ticks really fast and works really at a high speed and whatever. This part of my brain that I didn't think was in there is soft and gentle and calm, and I can feel her now, whereas I couldn't before, because the conversations that were playing over in my brain always were, oh, you've got to do this, or you've got to be there for that person, or you've got to be, you've got to do this more, or you've got to do that more, I was always the perfectionist, the overachiever, whereas the subconscious part of me is actually calm, and you don't have to overdo everything, and you are enough for your boys, and you are enough for the girls inside your business. And so the conversations have changed in my brain, because I think I'm able to realise that those softer conversations do actually live inside of me.
They're working better for you?
Yes.
The softer ones?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's in times of like when I'm starting to feel stressed, or when I'm starting to feel anxious, or if something's not perfect in my life, that I literally tell myself, this softness lives inside of you. Just sit with it. Move into her, Do you find, and correct me if I'm wrong here, with that restful place? Yes.
Are you really present when you're in that restful place?
So present.
That's so with, and I learnt this going out to do ceremony and all that sort of stuff. Like I really sort of was shown and taught things, got downloads about awareness. Taking the seat of awareness, or resting in natural great peace, they call it.
Yeah.
And anyone can rest there. Once you experience rest in there, you can. And it's just sitting as you are, what you are, which is like that awareness. You can sit there and just be the observer and the watcher of your thoughts, the neurotic ones. When I sit down and meditate, when the weather's bad within me, there's a lot of storms going on, and I observe. If someone else could observe and witness the thoughts and the voices that go on inside my head, they'd be like, your roommate that you've got within you is fucked up, mate. Like, how do you two live together? How do you sleep?
And isn't that's beautiful though? Because that's that yin and yang. Yeah.
But do you think it's that's it being in the present, you're just aware, that deep meditation, if you want to call it that. Do you reckon that's that restful?
100%. Yeah, it is. It's that full. I feel it in my body. It's not just in my brain when I access it, when I sit in it, when I'm present in that subconscious part of my brain. I feel it in my body. I feel like a marshmallow. I can really feel. I feel that relaxation, and it's so powerful. I think because today, especially with, life, and everyone has busy lives and kids and everything, we're on all the time. We're so fast paced, and having a business and having to be there for people all the time. I am unfortunately hot wired to wake up and be on, and be like, okay, what are we doing today? Where are we at? Let's check the calendars. Let's check the whatever. And for so long in my life, especially while drinking, that was my brain. That's all I knew. And I used alcohol to soften that and to be my marshmallow. Whereas now, it's been such a beautiful journey with this hypnotherapist, knowing that my brain is both and I can access both at all times. And when I access that part of my brain that is present and that is soft and that is an all-encompassing feeling, it's such a beautiful feeling, because I know that it's there now, whereas for so long I didn't. For so long, I was like, well, I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck in this fight or flight. This is me forever, you know, and I'm going to use alcohol and whatever else I can get my hands on to take it away on every cause. Whereas now I'm like, no, all I have to do is sit in presence and just bring her forward and be like, let's do this.
Hypnotherapy. What's this? I'd never give anything a knock. Maybe back in the day.
Yeah.
But I'd never give anything a knock if I hadn't tried it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
That this is you experiencing
it.
You know, like it's working.
Yeah, and it's conversational hypnotherapy. So he'll be talking to you 1 minute and then all of a sudden, I almost feel like, and I've never done ayahuasca, but I feel like it would be a similar experience. You're there, but it's just this part of you that you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So with the, ayahuasca, I guess it sort of just drives into that spirit realm.
Yeah.
You know, and like it is powerful stuff. You set an intention. Sometimes you mightn't get it, but you know, you always get what you need. Put it that way.
Yep.
With the hypnotherapy and the ayahuasca, I can sort of see like everything comes either with a visual or a thought download, like an idea, concept. You know, you can see your beliefs, you know, if it's real or not real. Like you really start to nut out some shit in that thing.
Yeah.
And we're always getting thought downloads, especially when he's getting you in the present moment. That's where the beauty happens.
Yes. And I think that's what he's not doing anything. It's not talk therapy in any way, shape or form. He's not asking me questions. He's not telling me, why do you think you're this way inclined? How do you think you've gotten to this place in your life? That's none of that is happening. It's literally, he says, when I say something, I want you to imagine it with your brain. Just use your brain. That is it. Don't use your words. You don't need to. Just use your brain. And as soon as you start to imagine yourself in that deep sense of spirit, in that deep, like, he's in there. He's like a mind mechanic. He's just like...
Did you say his name?
Greg, his name is. He's from Moving Minds.
Yep.
He's phenomenal. He's so incredible. My mother-in-law is seeing him now. But I think the best thing that's come from that is knowing that it's all inside of me.
Oh, yeah. You do it all.
Yeah.
I have so many people say, you saved my life. Thank you for helping me get through this. And I'm like, I love it. It does make me feel good. I'm not going to lie.
And that's the yes that you need.
Yeah. Best way to pick people up is to pick yourself up is to pick up others. And when, you know, they give you that, it really does, it lifts you up. But there's no way for me to help anybody. Like I can just drop a word as a seed. You know, like I can't get in someone, like they've got their own willpower. I can't get within them and act on their thought. I can lay a thought, you know, put words out to the universe and they can choose to water that seed within themselves or not.
Yeah.
But like it's power. That's what I say to them. I'm like, that's your power.
Yeah.
That's not my power. That's your power. That's the power that you've been looking for. You've got to harness that now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is so important for a human being because we're so reliant on other people for dopamine fixes, for anxiety fixes. We're relying on drugs and alcohol for those, as well as therapists and whatever else. But to learn that it's all inside of you, that's a force to be reckoned with. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like people really do have... They can go out and do whatever they want.
Yes, exactly. You can go out and do whatever you want. That's been the biggest, I think, lesson in all of this sobriety for me. Walking away from like the hypnotherapy and everything. It's amazing. But to know that it's all inside of me, everything. The choice every day to not drink alcohol, the movement in my body every day, the yin and the yangs in my body, the fear that I face every day is inside of me, the calm, the marshmallow feeling, that's all inside of me. Yeah.
I can't get that marshmallow. I'm just picturing you as a marshmallow having a nap on yourself.
Well, he asks you to explain how you feel. He goes, okay, so how do you feel? I'm like, a marshmallow. And there was only one way to explain it. But yeah, that has been the best lesson from all of this is that, you know, you asked me before how the difference in terms of sensations. I felt like I was living outside of myself in so many instances when I was drinking and using. Whereas now that I'm not, I live back inside my body again. Everything is inside my body. I feel that spirit in my body again, which
You're
is so
back.
nice. I'm back.
She's back.
I'm back, girl. I love it.
And
Yeah.
like doing things, going from not sober, you know, going out with your friends. And we did touch on this before, you know, you're going out and having a dance and a sing. It's easy when you're drunk.
100%.
And then, you know, you got to, you know, you get sober. And I don't really hang around too many people these days, but
Yeah.
I know when I got sober off the drugs, going out and hanging out and the shit talk, bender talk, like going to catch up with the boys the next morning, like I'm like, what the fuck?
And
I felt awkward.
Do you know what? I feel awkward too, but isn't it the best feeling?
Oh.
Like the next day when everyone else is like hurting in the hurt, or they're still going.
Just proper wounded.
I don't look at that, which I thought I would. I would look at it and be like, oh, I wish that was me. I look at that now and I'm like, oh my God, there's been so many occasions in my sobriety journey where I've hung out with people and they've been drunk that night and then I've caught up with them the next day. And it's reinforcement for me, seeing them in the hurt locker. I'm like, how good does this feeling? And I drove my car home from the pub last night. I could do that.
The first time we met, you were on one.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. It was like, I don't look back at that and be like, oh man, she was fucking next level. But
Thank God you're
yeah,
sober.
no, you've always come up, you know, so welcoming and just, you're a good time. You can hold a good chat and you are full of energy.
Yeah.
No, I don't really. ADD is just a label to me, but you definitely
100%
got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something going on there. You can tell.
It's a good thing. I think you know, it's your makeup, it's who you are, it's how you are. I think, you know, you have started to find many ways to harness it and use it in a more creative way, and you're going to find more the more you explore.
Yeah, you're right. I am going to find more. And that's the journey.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part of it.
Yeah.
That's the part that keeps you going every single day.
Yeah.
That's the addiction, if you will.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like and it works the same way. Next time you need a change up, like you stepped out of the familiar, and faced uncertainty, uncomfortable, but growth happens there.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to go explore new things, you're probably going to have to jump out of some sort of path again and into, you know, off the beaten track.
Yeah. I thought you were
for more adventure.
Jump out of a plane. I'm like, well, we could do that too.
I'm keen.
Yeah. Let's.
I reckon. I've done it a couple of times.
Have you?
Yeah, I'd love to train to do like a personal jump by myself.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd love to, but it's just that time and money. So as soon as that comes,
yeah,
time. Yeah, that'd be freaky, but out by yourself.
Oh.
It's like it would.
But I love that you want to do that.
Yeah.
But that's something, and that's I think the other thing with sobriety is that, you know, you have to find yourself on the other side of that, because when you, like you said, the first time you met me, I was, you know, I'm this person and that's drinking and whatever. For me, it was like, am I still that person without alcohol? And I am. I'm still that person.
You are.
The only thing is, without alcohol, I am finding myself chasing more of that feeling of like, okay, the excitement, you know, because you're not going out with your mates and you're getting drunk and you know, whatever the night takes you, or wherever the night takes you, you're not doing that as such anymore. So for me now, it's like, let's jump out of a plane. Or I did this, my husband laughed. I did this like sexy dancing class. I did one.
Like with a pole?
No.
Because I have seen that chicks do it for fitness and a bit of fun.
Yeah, I'd be keen. You want to come too? We'll do that as well.
Hey, I'm up for the new experiences. Get off the beaten track.
That's it. But no, it was like this sexy dancing class. He's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know, just to find like new inventive ways of like, you know, different things. Because you'd get on a dance floor when you were drunk and you'd dance and you'd release all your inhibitions and everything. Without alcohol, I don't know if that's still me. You know, like I probably would give it a red hot crack, but I may look like, I don't know, a brick trying to dance. I don't know. But so, yeah, I've been doing all of these like new things, experiences, which I'm so enjoying as well, because it's, finding out who I am on the other side of sobriety. Yeah.
That's it.
And also too, like, finding out who you are on the other side of sobriety, but also finding your friends, finding out who you are on the other side of sobriety. And I think my friends, my very close friends, Kelsey, have have held me with open arms, with no judgment, with no like, oh, but you can't have a drink, or you're not the same person without alcohol. Like, there has been none of that. And I'm so grateful for the people in my life that have not given me that. Because that's a worry of someone that's always been the bender man, the whatever. You know, you think, who am I on the other side of this, and who am I to my friends on the other side of this, and are they still going to want to be a part of my life?
Yep, absolutely.
You know, and what does that part in my life look like if we're not meeting at the pub for a beer? And they've been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And I've never once seen that you've come across, you know, when people give up smoke and they're like, oh, can't believe you're smoking those things. I was only on them for 30 years, but fucking you should pull up now.
Yeah.
I've never seen you. What is the term for that?
I don't know.
I can't remember what it is, but yeah, a reformed alcoholic.
Yes,
where they come out.
A reformed alcoholic.
You shouldn't be fucking drinking.
And I never try and be that person either. Like, my family still drinks a lot of alcohol, and they, you know, my brother has turned to me on a few occasions and been like, oh, I need to stop drinking and whatever. I never want to be the person that's like, you know, like preaching God. Like, oh, yes, well, you should come over to my side. Like, you should, you know, I don't want to, we're not here to do that. You're teaching people in your way, which is so beautiful. And I feel like you said, you know, you're planting those seeds inside of people and then they're watering them themselves. I'm not going to come to you and tell you that you need to get sober if you're not even ready to water that seed.
Absolutely.
So no, it's not, you know, the conversation we can have it 100%, but I'm not going to be like, you need to give up alcohol. You're a fucking drunk.
Thank you for saying that too.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, like you.
But you are too.
Thank you.
You are, without the podcast, with or without it,
Yeah.
you know, you are doing exactly that.
Yeah.
And it's we spoke about it before, the actions speak louder than words. It's the actions that people are going to see, like Kels.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if it was you or wasn't you, but
Yeah.
not too long after you quit drinking, she stopped drinking.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know if she's going to have a drink again. I don't think she will.
Yeah.
I don't think she
Isn't that
likes
beautiful?
it. And like the seed's been in my mind. Don't you worry about
Yeah.
that. Like, I have cut down a lot of drinking. I wasn't even drinking that much, but
Yeah.
I do find when I go back to work, I'll have a couple,
Yeah.
maybe from Thursday onwards.
Yeah.
But you know, you definitely, you and then Kels, like, it's planted the seed in my mind. I'm like, I don't know if I actually want this anymore. But it's like, yeah, I do like it as well. Like, I do like to have a beer.
I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
One foot in, one foot out. But there are other things too. It's like, you know, what do you want to let go of? What do you want to hold on to? You know, it can be pretty confronting. And I've tried to let go of numerous things at once, you know, and I'm talking, it's just like coffee. It'd be the weed, because I smoke a bit of weed. Not much, but I have a joint here and there. That actually helps me out with my mind.
It's a profound
calms it
medicine.
down. But, you know, and it does come from the earth, but it is something that soothes you from you in a way. So I'm definitely aware of that, definitely aware of the drink and all that. But,
Yeah. And I want to say, you've said that you're not sure if this is the path, and this is your path, Corey.
This is
100% this is your path, and you're, you know, the yes that you need to know that the time that you're spending on this, it's a yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you are helping people, and although you're saying, you know, it's their seed, they've got to water it, to be the person that helps them plant that seed is phenomenal. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for acknowledging my sobriety.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for helping me do that too. Like, it's not a me creation at the end of the day. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's a co-creation. It's the energy of everyone doing, you know, something good is a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah.
So what happens with the ceremonies, I'm actually holding some space with Mitch, one of my mates, not next weekend, the 13th of April. It's a Sunday, and we're going to open up the space and hold, you know, do this co-creation where everyone comes in, and it's the sharing circles I've found to be the most profound and transformative, when you can open up and hold a space and everyone that's there fully knows and feels that it is such a safe space that they can really talk from the heart instead of talking from the mind.
Yeah.
Like, just however it comes out, you know, you scream, you cry, you laugh, you shit yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to let go of.
Yeah. And life is about connection. You know, that's deeply what it is about. It's about connection. And I think being able to sit in a space with people that want to connect and that want to connect about similar life experiences and what they've been through. That's, connection in its rawest form.
Absolutely. And it could be, you know, say if there's 15 people there, one person's talking, it may help. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then the next person goes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just it's...
And you're facilitating that. Like, that is fucking amazing.
It's the first one I'm going to do. I've been thinking about doing it for a while, but I've done a lot of training without knowing that I'm doing training from sitting, not just with the medicine, without the medicine. You know, I sit by myself for half an hour every morning on the beach before I move my body.
Beautiful.
And go within. And I do the same as you. I spend probably 5-10 minutes unpacking because my mind's... Especially when I wake up for some reason, it's just very... I catch myself. I'm like, sometimes I don't even remember the drive to the beach. I'm like, I was so caught up in like a dream.
Yeah.
Like I was visioning it and seeing it. I'm like, I'm at the beach already. What the fuck? How did I not crash? Like I'm obviously seeing what's going on, but have you done that before?
100%.
Yeah.
I used to do it driving home from work. It was mostly the unpack. It was mostly the, oh my God, you know, like, and it was often the talk about myself, the imposter syndrome. They're like, oh, you know, this, that, and the other, and whatever. They're beating myself up on the drive home from work. But now the talk and the chatter is positive.
Love that.
Yeah. And I get lost in it to the point where I'm like, shit, 15 minutes has just passed and I've just talked to myself inside my brain. Oh my God.
I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah. As you said, if someone actually got a key inside of here, they'd be like, how do those storms live together?
Yep.
Like, how do they... But that's lovely. I love that. You know, and for a lot of people, that scares the fuck out of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think so too. It used to scare me. Like, I can just sort of... I do picture it as a bit of a roommate. I've got a couple of roommates up there. They have a conversation with one another, you know... What are we going to do? Fucking, it's not right, but 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, that's your excuse.
And they say multiple personality disorder is a disorder. No, it's not.
The mind's crazy.
Corey's living proof. It's not a disorder, it's a normality, okay?
It is normal. The mind's crazy. The mind tries to figure its own self out.
Yes.
It's fucking
What
wild.
a wild trip, eh?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, even now, I'm thinking about myself having this conversation with you. I'm not going there. Let's not go there. We haven't smoked anything this morning.
I think that's pretty well time anyway.
Beautiful.
Thanks so much for coming on, Hannah.
Thank you so much for having me.
And sharing your within world.
Yeah.
We didn't get to I wanted to talk a little bit about your, you know, where you come from and that, but I think that definitely do that another time maybe.
Yeah, we'll do that another time.
Yeah. Is there anything that you want to say to anyone that could be going through any type of shit right now?
Oh, that you're not alone. And Corey and I are living proof of that. I think I want to say mostly that you are who you are. And I think for me, you know, I used to try and drink alcohol to numb who I was and my brain on the inside. And obviously getting a late diagnosis, ADHD, has helped in the way of understanding that better. But before that, you know, I would numb myself so much with alcohol because I didn't understand myself.
Yep.
And I think to cap all of this off, the most important lessons from all of this is that the only way forward is to understand yourself and your brain and sit with yourself and be present with yourself. I think without that, it's a puzzle. It's all a big puzzle. And I think as soon as you start to piece those puzzle pieces together, I think you start to make sense of yourself a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah.
Puzzle.
Yeah.
It is a puzzle.
It's a puzzle. And I think the only way that you understand who you are and what your journey looks like in life is when you put it all together. And I think the only way you can put it all together is by choosing the good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Well said.
Thanks. It came from one of these personalities.
There's some good stuff in there. I love
Yeah.
it. Anyway, guys, thanks Hannah, again,
Thank
one
you.
more time.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you ever want to sit down with Hannah, whereabouts do you work, and have a chat about this?
Yeah, I've got a beauty salon, does brows and lashes.
Yeah, you got to get your brows done too. Don't just go in for a chat.
I don't know how many women would be listening to this, but I listen to Corey's podcast and I'm a woman.
There's actually more women.
Really?
More women than men, yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like 70% women, 30% men.
Well, girls, I'm here for you.
That's
And so
it.
I'm glad that I could come
Yeah.
on because other than Kels, I think, and your mum, Cindy's been on. Yeah.
I love
How
it.
cool.
I think like I brought a lot of like soft side out, you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's a monster in there.
Yeah.
We all got a monster inside of ourselves,
Yeah.
and like we got to be responsible for what it does when we let it out. But like I prefer to be gentle and soft, like marshmallow soft. And you know, if something unforeseen was to ever come, you know, where I needed to bring the monster out, and we do at times because there are other monsters in the world, and you do need that monster to fight other monsters. Like love and light just doesn't. It could end you real quick, but that's the only reason. The monster comes out when I choose for him to come out, and that's it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. See you guys. Have a good one. Have a good week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.